Chris, can you talk a bit about your encounter with the piece and how the partnerships then evolved?
Absolutely. Well, as a conductor yourself, and Jeff, you would know this, people are always sending you new scores. And of course, we have the composers that we like to work with. I've commissioned Ellen, for example. And so, although I love to find out about new pieces, so often I think, oh gosh, I've got sort of 2 or 3 years of programming sitting on my desk. How can I make room? Well, when I saw this piece, I immediately made room. And in fact, we were planning on doing this right when the pandemic hit. So this is one of those cabs in the rank that are finally taking off. I was sent a CD and a very short note by one of Concora's greatest supporters. In our 50 years, Judy Hyde has been one of the most generous supporters that we have ever had. And she has left Hartford. She's moved up to the Pioneer Valley. And she sent me the CD and said, I went to this concert at Smith College. It was absolutely packed. Everybody loved it. And then separately, I talked to one of our board members, Lori Chetto, who also lived down here. She taught at Hall High School in West Hartford, taught music, and is now in the area. And she had gone to it. So I listened to it. And I have to say, Jeff, I was just absolutely pulled in immediately. And part of what pulled me in was the opening, those opening brass, it's not entirely brass, but it's a brass choir color, which then becomes the Hope is a Verb. But it was so early in my journey, I had no idea. All I knew that it was this stentorian almost call to worship or call to action from the very beginning. So I fell in love with it. We decided to program it. We got some support. I should acknowledge them from Choral Arts New England, an organization that Ellen knows well. We got a grant, which then of course was put off till after the pandemic. But then things grew so organically from there. Jeff had so much to talk about in so little time that he didn't get to mention that the avatar of the future in this piece is a children's choir, for example. So I put together a children's choir, some from the Connecticut Children's Choir, but also from a couple different schools, kids from first grade to high school. I wanted this sense of the responsibility being handed over to the next generation to feel as inclusive as possible. So that was one collaboration. Then we returned to something that was maybe in my 8 years with Concora, the most rewarding experience that we've had. And that was when we performed Considering Matthew Shepard in memory of Matthew Shepard, the young gay man who was killed in Wyoming, this extraordinary new work with the Yukon Chamber Choir at Asylum Hill Congregational Church, because they have this extraordinary bequest that allows them each year to do a concert that is in support of another organization, because money was left to support this, so that the entry is by donation, which is just so generous. And it is music with a mission. So we went to Jack Pott, who's sung with Concora forever, who is music director, and he immediately said, please let us present this concert. This is exactly what that program is for. So I love that. That's such a value add for me when we can bring disparate parts of the Hartford area together, and to involve Cynthia's organization as well, which is so important, because hope is a verb. Hope is a verb. That's what I certainly take away from this experience. And so that at the end of all of this, if we aren't also doing something, then we're just consuming yet more. In this case, we're consuming music, but it's consumption that got us to this place. So it really is so exciting to be able to extend our arms out and enfold in all of these other organizations.
It's so wonderful the way the theme of collaboration is baked into this, from Jeff's score, which includes orchestra, choir, children's choir, soloists. You have all those different voices coming together. And then Chris, to your point about having children from many different ages and stages, but then also collaborating with the series at Asylum Hill and with local organizations. I mean, it's up to us as choral musicians to be embodying that collaborative, unifying spirit in a time that is so divisive and so polarizing, to be able to join arms and focus on something that is of such importance and such a pressing need for us to pay attention